Most people spend their lives chasing approval, trying to fit in, be liked, stay accepted. But the moment you turn your focus inward, everything changes. You stop begging for validation and start building inner power. When you focus on you, your mind sharpens, your peace deepens, and your clarity becomes unshakable. This is how real leaders are made. Ignore yourself, and you'll stay at the mercy of everyone else's opinion. But own yourself, and nothing can shake you. The strongest minds are built in silence. In just a few moments, you'll understand why the more you focus on yourself, the stronger your mind, your life becomes. When you focus on yourself, you shift from being a passenger in life to becoming its driver. This isn't just a poetic metaphor. It is a fundamental law of achievement. Most people live reactively. They are pulled by distractions, bent by opinions, and steered by the noise of the world. They hand over the steering wheel of their life to circumstance, waiting for approval, waiting for direction, waiting for luck. But there is a rare type of person, someone who makes a decision to turn inward, to focus the lens on their own thoughts, beliefs, and actions. That person begins to shape destiny. The moment you redirect your attention to yourself, something miraculous happens. You start to see not the mask you wear to fit in, not the illusion you've built to please others, but the raw, unfiltered truth, the potential waiting to be activated. You begin to see your patterns, how you respond to pressure, how you talk to yourself, how you treat your own dream. And in seeing those things, you gain what few possess, clarity. Clarity leads to control, and control is the first brick of power. When you control your thoughts, your responses, your energy, you become immune to chaos. You stop absorbing other people's anxiety. You stop reacting to every spark thrown your way. You begin to move with purpose, guided by something stronger than impulse. That, my friend, is when your strength becomes visible. The Bible offers timeless counsel in Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the springs of life. Your heart, your inner world, is the source from which all things flow. If your inner world is confused, your outer life will be chaotic. If your mind is scattered, your results will be the same. But when your inner world is guarded and focused, your outer world reflects order, power, and peace. Florence Nightingale understood this principle. Born into privilege, she could have remained comfortably silent. Society expected her to host parties, marry well, and remain in the shadows. But she listened inward, not outward. She felt a divine call to serve, and that inward focus gave her the courage to walk into war hospitals, to defy bureaucracy, and to revolutionize medicine. If she had listened to the noise of the world would have remained noisier, sicker, more chaotic. But because she focused inward, she brought healing out. And now it's your turn. You have a destiny that cannot be discovered externally. It must be unlocked from within. The strongest people you admire didn't get there by luck or validation. They turned their focus inward, identified what needed to grow, what needed to die, and what needed to be built. Then they worked, silently, consistently, with fierce intention. So start now. Begin by noticing where your attention goes. Are you always watching others? Are you always reacting? Or are you shaping yourself each day? The world doesn't need another person trying to please the crowd. The world needs you clear, focused, powerful. Your strength begins with your attention. And the moment you direct it inward, you stop being a passenger in life. You take the wheel, drive. To focus on yourself does not mean to be selfish. It means to be strategic. It means you understand that if the foundation is weak, the entire structure will crumble. The world will often call you self-centered for stepping away to rebuild yourself. Let them talk. What they call selfish is, in truth, sacred. For the person who does not take care of their inner world will soon have nothing of substance to offer the outer world. We live in a culture that celebrates the grind and glorifies exhaustion. People wear burnout like a badge of honor. But the truth is simple. You cannot pour from an empty cup. When you are drained, you operate from survival, not vision. You make decisions based on fear instead of faith. But when you focus on nourishing yourself, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, you operate from overflow. Your relationships deepen. Your influence expands. Your energy becomes magnetic because your fountain becomes unshakable. In Philippians 4:13, Paul declares, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Yet that strength is not a magical burst. It is built like steel forged in fire. Your inner power grows through challenge, repetition, and intentionality. Strength is not something you wait to feel. It's something you create by consistent choices. You train your mind. You condition your responses. You refuse to bow to distraction. That is how focus becomes your weapon. George Washington Carver was not handed a throne. He built one with dirt beneath his feet. Born into slavery, given little access to education, he rose to become a scientific innovator and a force of nature in agriculture. Not because the world cleared a path for him, but because he created his own. He invested in knowledge. He preserved his energy for creation, not complaint. And because he focused on growth, the world had no choice but to take notice. You must do the same. Every day you're given two choices. Scatter your energy outward, trying to be everything for everyone, or direct your energy inward, fortifying the person who can impact everything. When you train your body, you're not just building muscle, you're building discipline. When you read, you're not just consuming facts, you're expanding your world. When you say no to something that drains you, you say yes to something that builds you. Focus is not selfish. It is sacred stewardship of your potential. And do not misunderstand, this path is not easy. Distractions will scream. People will doubt you. Guilt may try to creep in. But remember this, greatness demands separation before elevation. You cannot rise while entangled in everything and everyone. Strategic focus requires boundaries, and boundaries are the birthplace of strength. Your life is a field. You can sow seeds of distraction, or you can sow seeds of destiny. The harvest you receive depends on where you choose to pour your time, energy, and attention. So plant wisely. Protect your ground. Water the roots of your mind with intention. Because the moment you stop trying to fix everything around you and start focusing on what lies within, you become unstoppable. Focus is not a limitation. It is the key to multiplication. Use it wisely. Let it guide you. Because through it, your greatness walks. Most people spend their lives facing outward, trying to fix others, win arguments, or chase after applause. They measure their value by external reactions, spending precious energy trying to shape opinions that were never theirs to hold. But the truth, though uncomfortable, is liberating. The only person you can truly change is you. Real transformation doesn't begin with the world. It begins with self-mastery. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The winds roar. The rain beats down. You cannot silence the thunder or calm the sky, but you can build a ship, one strong enough to carry you through it. That ship is your mind, and the material it is built from, focus, discipline, inner clarity. You cannot control the chaos outside, but you can conquer the chaos within. Romans 12:2 gives us a blueprint. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The world's pattern says, react, retaliate, respond to noise with more noise. But transformation demands that you renew daily, intentionally, persistently. You do not drift into clarity. You focus into it. Harriet Tubman is a living testimony to the power of internal mastery. She did not ask for permission. She did not wait for applause. She listened inward. She trusted divine whispers more than public opinion. And because she mastered herself, her fear, her focus, her faith, she led others to freedom. She walked through danger with a spirit trained in solitude. That's what you must become. A leader not because you crave attention, but because your inner fire lights the path for others. You are not battling the world. You are battling the noise within you, the self-doubt, the fear of rejection, the addiction to praise. You must break those chains, and they are chains. Make no mistake. Distraction tells you to scroll instead of study. Doubt tells you to quit before you begin. Validation tells you to shrink your voice until others approve. But focus tells a different story. Focus whispers, go inward. Focus invites you to silence the outer world so you can strengthen your inner one. And here's the beautiful result. When you master yourself, you move differently. You walk into rooms with an energy that shifts the atmosphere, not because you're loud, but because you're anchored. You carry storms inside you, and you calm everyone else's. You don't chase peace, you bring it. You don't seek clarity, you are it. This is what focus produces. It gives you dominion not over others, but over the only battlefield that matters, your own mind. And from that dominion, you gain the power to influence. Not through force, but through presence. Not through noise, but through alignment. So stop exhausting your life trying to change what is not yours to change. Withdraw your energy from criticism, comparison, and chaos, and reinvest it into mastery. Learn your patterns. Study your thoughts. Rewrite your beliefs. Because the higher version of you isn't out there. It's already inside you, waiting to be disciplined, directed, and deployed. Let your mind become the ship that sails steady through every storm. Let focus be your compass, and let transformation begin. Not someday, but today. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you cast a vote for your future self. It doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It's the quiet decisions, the 5 a.m. wake-up, the salad instead of sugar, the extra hour studying while others sleep, that forge the life you desire. Discipline is not a punishment. It's a passport. Every small act of discipline lays a brick, and while the world may not see what you're building, heaven does. More importantly, you do. The structure is invisible at first, but the stronger it grows, the more unshakable you become. Comfort is seductive. It tells you rest now, skip today, just this once. But the price of comfort today is regret tomorrow. You must build with intention, and when the temptation comes to take the easy path, remember, you're not building for now, you're building for what's next. Your future self is counting on you. Matthew 7:24 speaks of the wise man who built his house upon the rock. The rains came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. That's what focus on yourself creates, a rock beneath your feet, a mind anchored in conviction, a life that doesn't fall apart in storms. You don't escape life's challenges. You endure them because your structure is solid. Booker T. Washington understood this truth. Born into slavery, he didn't have privilege or access, but he had will. He walked miles just to reach education. He scrubbed classrooms just to stay enrolled. He became a student when others said he shouldn't, and then he became a teacher when others said he couldn't. He didn't wait for the world to change. He built strength in silence, brick by brick, lesson by lesson, sweat by sweat. He didn't need ideal conditions. He needed consistency. And so do you. You don't need the perfect gym, the perfect mentor, the perfect moment. You need one choice, one commitment, one step forward, repeated again and again until momentum takes over. Strength is not built in moments of ease. It is forged in fire, in the reps you push through when no one is watching, in the nights you stay disciplined while others indulge, in the decisions that make no noise but change everything. Don't worry if no one notices you're disciplined. Don't expect applause. The strongest foundations are underground. The deepest roots are hidden. Your effort is not in vain. One day, when the storms of life come, and they will come, you will stand firm while others crumble. Not because you're lucky, but because you're built. Every act of self-discipline is a declaration. You're telling the world, I am not here to be shaken. I am here to be steady. You're declaring war on weakness. You're declaring love for your future. And every brick matters. So today, choose the hard path, the lonely road, the early alarm, the quiet grind. Because that's where transformation lives. That's where greatness begins. And when the flood comes, when the wind howls, when the world trembles, your house will still be standing. Why? Because you built it right. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers, but you will never hear them if you keep running from yourself. In this modern world, noise has become the addiction of the anxious. People fear silence because it forces them to listen to their doubts, their regrets, and their unlived dreams. But if you're brave enough to sit in stillness, you'll hear something far more valuable: clarity. The strongest minds are not built in chaos. They're forged in solitude. It is in the quiet that the storm within is calm. The world will try to convince you that success requires hustle every moment, that movement equals progress. But true elevation begins when you learn to pause, not to numb, but to be still and aware. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In quietness and in trust shall be your strength." Not in volume, not in speed, in quietness. When you spend time alone, truly alone, you come face to face with the unfiltered truth of who you are. And that moment, though uncomfortable, is the birthplace of growth. Your fears rise, your insecurities echo, but so do your dreams, your values, your purpose. Silence becomes the mirror, and if you dare to look, you'll see the next version of yourself, waiting to be born. Nikola Tesla understood this. While others chased applause, he embraced solitude. Hours, sometimes days, spent in mental silence. He built worlds in his imagination. He didn't just invent machines. He saw them before they were real. His solitude was not a weakness. It was his superpower. Because he learned what most people never discover. Solitude is a portal to genius. But you don't need to be an inventor to practice this power. You just need courage. The courage to turn off the noise, to shut down the notifications, to walk into a room without music, without messages, just you and your mind. And then listen, not with fear, but with faith. Trust that what you hear in the silence is exactly what you need. We live in a society that celebrates busyness, the calendar full of appointments, the inbox flooded with requests, the mind always on. But that isn't strength, that's survival. And you were not born to survive, you were born to create, to lead. And leaders must retreat before they advance. They must listen before they speak. They must know themselves before they guide others. So make it a habit, a daily ritual. Even 5 minutes of stillness can alter your trajectory. Sit with your thoughts, ask yourself real questions. What am I avoiding? What am I chasing? Who am I becoming? You don't need the world's opinion, you need your own awareness. Because the stronger your relationship with yourself, the less you need from the world. You stop begging for validation. You stop bending for approval. You become grounded, not in noise, but in knowing. And that, my friend, is where true freedom begins. When you can be alone with yourself and feel complete. When silence becomes sanctuary, not punishment. That's when your power multiplies. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of purpose. Embrace it. And watch your mind grow stronger than ever before. When your focus is fractured, your life becomes scattered. Tasks go unfinished. Dreams stay on paper. Energy gets drained in 10 different directions, and none of them lead anywhere meaningful. It's like pouring water into 10 cups and watching them all stay empty. But when your focus becomes singular, when it is aimed at growth, aimed at mastery, aimed at one meaningful pursuit, momentum builds. And with momentum, power is inevitable, like a river carving a canyon. Consistency in one direction transforms everything. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. The river isn't fast, but it is relentless. And that is what separates the average from the exceptional. Most people dabble. They try a little of this, a little of that. They start businesses, then abandon them. Set goals, then forget them. Begin disciplines, then drop them. The result? A life filled with fragments. Pieces of potential scattered across time. But power is found in completion, not in starting, but in finishing. Not in curiosity, but in commitment. James 1:8 gives us a warning. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. The unstable man is not evil. He's simply unfocused. He says yes to too much. He pivots too soon. He abandons the hard path for the easy one. And so his life never stabilizes. Focus brings order. Focus builds strength. When you pick one goal, just one, and chase it with intention, the universe starts to respond. Doors open, resources appear, people take you seriously. Not because you're lucky, but because you're clear. You're not sending mixed signals. You've declared your direction, and direction creates alignment. Thomas Edison didn't revolutionize the world by being interested in everything. He chose one obsession, innovation, and gave it his full attention. Thousands of experiments, countless failure. But because he stayed the course, he didn't just invent the light bulb. He lit the world. That kind of impact isn't reserved for geniuses. It's reserved for the focused. What if you stopped switching paths every time it got difficult? What if you stayed long enough to get good? Long enough for your roots to grow deep and your name to carry weight? Most people never tap into their potential because they move too much. The moment pressure shows up, they pivot, but mastery lives on the other side of perseverance. So I ask you, what is your one thing? What's the one pursuit that sets your soul on fire? Choose it. Write it down, then eliminate everything else that doesn't align with it. Cut the distractions. Say no to noise. Invest fully in the path you've chosen. This is what it means to focus on yourself. Not in a scattered way, but in a strategic one. Every day, pour your energy into your mission. Every action should echo your objective. And when doubt comes, return to your decision. You chose this, you're building this, you're finishing this. Because when you focus on yourself with intensity, you move from chaos to clarity. And clarity is more than peace. It's power. It's the soil where results grow, where confidence builds, where transformation begins. Choose your target. Lock in. Stay steady and watch the world begin to move in your favor. You must learn to protect your focus like a fortress, not with walls of anger or defensiveness, but with discipline, clarity, and unwavering standards. Your attention is your most valuable currency, and not everyone deserves to spend it. Each day, the world will throw demands your way, messages to respond to, arguments to settle, distractions to chase. But here's the truth. You don't owe your energy to everything that calls for it. You are building something sacred, your mindset, your future, your destiny. And when you are in the construction phase, the worst thing you can do is entertain the noise. Every distraction pulls bricks out of the foundation you're trying to lay. And too many lost bricks, the entire structure crumbles. Nehemiah 6:3 reveals the mindset of a man locked into purpose. He said, I am doing a great work, so I cannot come down. That single sentence is a shield. He was building the walls of Jerusalem, surrounded by enemies who tried to distract, derail, and discourage him. But he didn't debate. He didn't defend. He simply stayed focused. That's the energy you need. You are doing a great work. Maybe your great work is healing. Maybe it's launching a dream. Maybe it's becoming someone your family can depend on. Whatever it is, don't come down. Don't lower your energy to match the chaos around you. Don't dilute your purpose to win approval or avoid criticism. Stay at your post. Keep laying bricks. Not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion is worth your response. And not every invitation deserves a yes. You must build filters for your focus. Ask yourself, does this align with my mission? If the answer is no, walk away. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Protect your peace like you would guard a treasure, because that's exactly what it is. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you say yes to something that does. Each boundary is a line drawn in love, not just for others, but for yourself. And with every boundary you set, your focus sharpens, your time expands, your strength multiplies. Think of your focus as fuel. Would you waste fuel on a road that leads nowhere? Would you keep filling a tank with leaks? Then don't leak energy on gossip, on doubt, on people who drain you more than they develop you. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Highly focused individuals are not lucky. They're intentional. They don't stumble into peace. They schedule it. They don't accidentally grow. They guard the environment where growth happens. You must do the same. Create sacred space in your life where distractions are not allowed to enter. Whether it's a quiet morning routine, an evening of deep work, or a few hours of no noise, no interruptions, build that fortress. And then watch how fast your life begins to change. Because the moment you become protective of your focus, your energy returns, your mind clears, your pace quickens, and your results, they multiply. You are doing a great work. Do not come down. To focus on yourself is to become brutally honest. No more sugarcoating. No more denial. No more pointing fingers. This is the moment you step into the mirror and face the truth. Not the truth about others, but the truth about you. Growth doesn't begin with positivity. It begins with truth. It begins when you drop the excuses and say, this is on me. Truth is not always pleasant, but it is liberating. John 8:32 says, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Notice the order. You must know it before it frees you. And knowing it means being willing to see the parts of yourself you've tried to hide. The laziness you blamed on exhaustion, the bitterness you blamed on betrayal, the mediocrity you blamed on circumstance. Truth says own it. Most avoid this because truth is painful. It scrapes away your illusions. It removes the comfort of blame. It exposes the lies you've wrapped around your failure to make it more bearable. But here's the good news. Pain isn't the end. It's the beginning. Because once you admit what's broken, you can begin to build. Truth tears down illusions, yes, but it also builds foundations, solid ones. Andrew Carnegie didn't become the king of steel because the world handed him power. He came to America with nothing, poor, unconnected, but he refused to stay a victim. He took ownership. He didn't complain. He studied. He didn't wish. He worked. He didn't wait. He built, day by day, book by book, sacrifice by sacrifice. And that's what launched him to greatness. He didn't rewrite history by hiding from truth. He used truth as his launch pad. You must do the same, and it begins by asking hard questions. What excuses am I still making? Where have I been lying to myself? What parts of my life have I outsourced to blame instead of responsibility? These questions sting, but they awaken, because behind every excuse is a power you've surrendered. And once you call it out, you take it back. Radical responsibility is not about shame. It's about sovereignty. It's the declaration that your life is your canvas. You are the artist. The strokes may be messy, the colors may bleed, but you're still the one holding the brush. And with truth in hand, you can repaint any story. When you take responsibility, your life becomes malleable, flexible, changeable. You are no longer a victim of your past, your parents or your pain. You are the sculptor. Mold your mind, refine your habits. Shape your days with discipline. Let truth carve the life you've been avoiding. This journey is not for the faint of heart, but you're not faint. You're ready. Ready to stop pretending. Ready to stop performing. Ready to become, because becoming begins with truth, and truth begins with focus. So sit with it. Let it sting. Let it cleanse, and then let it set you free. You don't need permission to change your life. You just need truth. And you've already found it right there inside the mirror. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your partner, not the government. And that's not a tragedy, it's a gift. Because once you accept that, your life begins to change. You stop waiting for opportunity to knock. You stop waiting for validation to begin. You stop waiting, period. Instead, you start building, creating, leading. We've been conditioned to believe that help will arrive someday, somehow. But here's the truth. No one's coming. You are the answer to your own prayer. You are the rescue plan. You are the breakthrough you've been hoping for. Psalm 121:1-2 offers this declaration of faith. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. Yes, divine help is real. But notice something powerful. This help is activated by faith in motion. It meets you on the path, not on the couch. It empowers your effort. God won't write your business plan or lift your weights, but he will strengthen you as you do. Faith without movement is fantasy. Madam C.J. Walker, born to parents who had been enslaved, widowed by age 20, a single mother working as a laundress for $1.50 a week. She had every reason to wait for someone to rescue her, but she didn't. She took ownership. She saw a need in the marketplace, hair care products for black women, and turned her pain into a purpose. With no roadmap, no investors, and no guarantees, she built a business empire. She became the first female self-made millionaire in America, not because the world opened the door, but because she kicked it down. That is what it means to focus on yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of intention. You stop outsourcing your destiny. You stop thinking someone else will bring you the life you dream of. You realize this is on me, my mindset, my energy, my effort. No more blaming, no more waiting, no more hoping someone will finally see your potential. You must see it, and then you must act on it. Every minute you spend waiting for the right time, the right partner, the right economy, you lose ground, because the perfect moment is an illusion. It never arrives. The only thing that's real is now. This moment, this decision, this step forward. And here's the paradox. When you stop waiting for help, you find it. Not because it shows up at your door, but because you became someone worth helping. You started moving. You built momentum. You became a magnet for resources, people, and opportunities. Because people don't invest in potential, they invest in progress. And progress only happens when you stop stalling and start building. So take the pressure off everyone else. They are not your saviors. They are not your source. And they don't owe you your future. You owe it to yourself. Pick up the bricks, start laying your foundation, take the next step, even if it's small, because your dreams are not waiting for someone else to believe in them. They're waiting for you to build them. And once you do, help will meet you on the path. Not because you waited, but because you moved. You are not behind. You are becoming. Let that truth take root in your heart. In a world obsessed with speed, comparison, and artificial milestones, it's easy to feel like you're too late, too far gone, too off course. But you are not late. You are in process, and your process has purpose. Comparison is the thief of peace. It pulls your eyes from your own soil and plants them on someone else's harvest. You see their bloom, but not their planting, their glory, but not their grind. You measure your worth by timelines that were never yours to follow. But when you stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, you reclaim the one thing that matters most, your focus. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven." That includes your season, your purpose, your breakthrough. But just as fruit doesn't appear the day after a seed is planted, neither does transformation. There is time for breaking ground, time for darkness, time for pushing upward, and then, only then, time for bloom. Too many people waste their growth energy watching others. They scroll, they envy, they shrink. They feel late to a race that was never meant to be a competition. But you are different. You understand that greatness isn't microwaved, it's marinated. It's cultivated in silence, in discipline, in persistence when no one is watching. Every setback you faced wasn't a delay, it was a teacher. Every detour carried a lesson. Every failure carved deeper roots. And those roots, they will support the weight of your future. Without them, your success would be hollow, easily shaken. But with them, you can stand, because you didn't just grow fast, you grew deep. So stay planted. Stop trying to jump timelines. Stop uprooting your progress to compare it with someone else's. Water your own vision. Feed it with truth. Protect it from doubt. Give it light through hope and action, and trust the process, because the process isn't punishing you, it's preparing you. When you focus on yourself, not out of ego, but out of commitment, you begin to see progress. Not always dramatic, not always obvious, but always real. Day by day you rise. Inch by inch you improve. The seed doesn't question the soil. It just pushes through. So must you. And then one day, without fanfare, you will look around and realize you didn't bloom because you chased applause. You bloomed because you trusted the process, because you stayed when others quit, because you believed when it was hard. And that kind of bloom, it doesn't fade, it multiplies. So no, you are not behind. You are blooming in perfect timing, in divine alignment. Your only job now is to stay focused on your own ground, to water your soul with discipline, to shield your dreams from comparison, and to trust that what you're building, though unseen, is unfolding exactly as it should. Because when you focus on yourself, you don't just grow, you blossom. Strength begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start moving. The world conditions you to believe in perfect timing, as if success depends on planets aligning, inspiration striking, or someone finally giving you permission. But the truth is this: perfection is a myth, and waiting is a trap. There will never be a perfect mood, day, or set of circumstances. The people who win in life are not those who feel ready, but those who act anyway. They don't wait for clarity, they create it through motion. Most people stall their destiny not because they lack talent, but because they lack initiation. They delay decisions, postpone progress, argue with themselves in the name of preparation. But the mind that is trained to act, especially in the absence of comfort, becomes a powerful force. It becomes a mind that doesn't beg for permission. It leads. Proverbs 13:4 declares, "The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied." Craving without action is just a dream slowly rotting into regret. But diligence gets results. Diligence multiplies what motivation only promises. You don't build a strong mind by thinking about it. You build it by commanding yourself to move, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So how do you build that kind of strength? You train your responses. You stop waiting for energy to arrive and generate it through small, disciplined actions. You stop giving yourself multiple options and commit to one clear course. You get up at the time you said you would. You show up to the task whether you feel inspired or not. You stop negotiating with laziness, and instead you lead yourself like a general leading an army. Elizabeth Blackwell. She was rejected from every medical school she applied to, mocked even after acceptance, and constantly reminded that medicine was not a woman's field. But she didn't let those voices override the voice within. She didn't wait for the world to approve of her mission. She prepared, applied again, and faced down adversity. In doing so, she became the first woman to earn a medical degree in the United States and opened the door for thousands of others. She didn't act because she felt brave every day. She acted because she believed her mission mattered more than her mood. And that's the difference. Strong minds don't obey feelings. They obey purpose. The more you move, the more momentum follows. The more you take action, the more energy flows into your body. Waiting drains. Movement fuels. So stop stalling. Stop rationalizing delay. There is no ideal moment coming in the future. There is only now. And now is powerful when met with intention. Your future is not waiting for motivation. It's waiting for you to put your foot down and start. Command yourself. Lead yourself. Move your feet. Because strength doesn't come when the timing is perfect. It comes when your discipline becomes louder than your doubt. Your strongest mindset begins the moment you do. So begin. Focus on yourself by creating standards that refuse to shrink for convenience. This world is full of shortcuts, loopholes, and easy outs, and every one of them is a trap. The moment you start adjusting your standards to accommodate comfort, you begin a silent negotiation with mediocrity. And mediocrity, once allowed through the door, doesn't leave quietly. It takes over. The strength of your mind is directly tied to the strength of the line you draw and how fiercely you protect it. You cannot build a sharp mind with dull commitment. The standard you set in private becomes the results you show in public. And the greatest threat to your success isn't failure, it's compromise. It's the little voice that says, just this once, or no one will notice. But you will notice, and your inner integrity will begin to erode. One skipped discipline becomes a pattern. One broken promise becomes a mindset. Excellence doesn't die in one day. It bleeds out through lowered standards. Colossians 3:23 gives you a blueprint. Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men. That's the formula for greatness. Not for attention, not for praise, but for purpose. You show up every day with your full effort, not because someone is watching, but because you are watching. You work like it matters because it does. Strong minds are not built by lowering the bar to meet your mood. They are forged by raising it and then rising to meet it every day, especially on the days when it would be easier not to. Strength comes from showing up when it's hard, staying committed when it's boring, and pushing forward when others quit. Discipline isn't about motivation, it's about alignment. Your daily effort must reflect the destiny you claim to want. Sojourner Truth, born into slavery, denied education, treated as less than human, but she refused to accept silence as her final chapter. She learned to read, she found her voice, she spoke truth in courts, in churches, in crowds, not because the world gave her permission, but because she gave herself a standard, and she refused to shrink. Her life was not easy, her path was not straight, but her standards were unshakable. She did not bend to fear. She rose in power, and generations were changed because of it. You must do the same. Set a standard so high that it intimidates your comfort, one that demands your best, even in private, one that holds you accountable when no one else is watching. Your future doesn't need more excuses. It needs structure. It needs values. It needs non-negotiables. So hold the line. When others slack, stay sharp. When others drift, stay rooted. When the world says lower your bar, raise it higher, because the ones who refuse to shrink become the ones who lead. And if you can stay faithful to the standard, even when the reward is invisible, you'll find yourself standing tall when others fall. Excellence isn't earned in public. It's built in secret, brick by brick, choice by choice. So choose today, who are you becoming? Then match your effort to your answer every single day. Self-focus becomes strength the moment you learn to speak to yourself with the authority of a leader. Your life rises or falls based on the tone of your inner voice. Most people speak to themselves in whispers of doubt, complaint, and insecurity, and then they wonder why their lives feel small, chaotic, or powerless. But when your self-talk shifts from fear to faith, everything begins to change. The voice you use with yourself matters more than the voices you hear from others. Why? Because no one talks to you more than you. You are the most consistent speaker in your life. Your words shape your mind. Your mind shapes your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. That's why victim language is dangerous. I can't. I always fail. I'm not good enough. These aren't just thoughts. They're declarations, and declarations become realities. Mark 11:23 tells us, "Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and does not doubt in his heart, it will be done for him." Notice it doesn't say, "If anyone thinks." It says, faith isn't just belief. It's speech. You must speak your power. You must declare your direction. You must command your focus. Self-focus doesn't stop at awareness. It evolves into articulation. You begin each day not asking, "What do I feel like doing?" but declaring, "This is who I am. This is where I'm going." You command your morning with purpose. You speak discipline into your body. You speak vision into your spirit. Your internal dialogue becomes a strategic weapon. Ida B. Wells lived this power at a time when silence was safer and apathy was easier. She chose voice. She investigated injustice. She wrote boldly. She stood in rooms where women weren't invited and spoke with fire, not because the world welcomed her, but because she refused to silence herself. Her words moved mountains. They changed laws. They awakened consciences. But before she spoke to the world, she had to first speak truth to herself. That's where all transformation begins. So what are you saying to yourself? Are your words building strength or sowing self-doubt? Are you rehearsing problems or declaring purpose? Your inner dialogue is either a cage or a key, and you hold it. To train your voice is to train your identity. Speak as the person you are becoming, not the person you've been. Talk to yourself like a leader would, firm but kind, clear but visionary. Never passive, never pitiful. Command your thoughts like they are soldiers, because they are. And here's the secret. When you declare something with enough consistency, your spirit begins to obey. Your body aligns, your choices follow, your mind stops resisting and starts reinforcing. Action flows from affirmation. Speak excellence. Speak boldness. Speak integrity. Say what you seek, and then step into it. Because your voice isn't just for others, it's for you. It's the steering wheel of your focus, the volume knob of your belief, and the echo chamber of your destiny. Lead yourself with words that lift. Start speaking like the champion you were born to become. Focusing on yourself means forgiving yourself. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because until you release what's behind you, you'll never reach what's ahead. So many are not stuck because of a lack of talent, but because they're tangled in their own past. Not moving forward because they haven't let go. Shame doesn't just haunt you, it halts you. It freezes the potential that's trying to rise in you. Regret replays, guilt repeats, and every time you relive the mistake, you reinforce its weight. But the truth is this: you are not your past decision. You are your next decision. And the faster you accept that, the freer your mind becomes. You cannot lead yourself with chains on your feet. You must break them. 1 John 1:9 offers divine clarity. If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us. That's not a maybe. That's a promise. Grace isn't earned, it's accepted. And once accepted, it's meant to empower, not enable guilt. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's releasing. Releasing the need to punish yourself. Releasing the habit of replaying failure. Releasing the belief that you are less because of what you did. The strongest minds are not those who have never failed, but those who no longer live in the failure. Those who have chosen to learn from it, grow through it, and rise beyond it. You cannot build your future in the ruins of yesterday. That's why self-forgiveness is not optional. It's foundational. Clara Barton, founder of the Red Cross, when reminded of someone who had wronged her deeply, she famously responded, "I distinctly remember forgetting that." She made a decision, not to erase the past, but to stop reliving it. She didn't let criticism reroute her mission. She stayed focused, and because of that, she changed the world. Imagine if she had chosen shame instead of strength, silence instead of service. We would have lost a legacy. You must do the same. Stop keeping records of your mistakes like trophies. Stop making your past the anchor to your present. You are not your worst moment. You are what you do next. That's where your power lives. To forgive yourself is to lead yourself. It's to say, yes, I fell, but I've also risen. It's choosing to put your energy into correction, not condemnation. Learn from it, apologize if needed, repent with sincerity, and then release it. There is no growth in guilt. There is only stagnation. And understand this: the faster your mind lets go, the stronger it becomes. The longer you carry what no longer serves you, the more it weighs you down. Mental strength is not just about endurance. It's about release, about knowing when to drop the baggage and move. You can't build the future you desire while living in yesterday's ruins. You were never meant to stay in your lowest chapter. You were meant to rise, to rebuild, to rewrite. And to do that, you must forgive. Speak grace to yourself. Lead yourself with mercy. And when the voice of shame whispers, remind it, that's not who I am anymore. Because the moment you release what's behind you, your future opens wide before you. And you, my friend, are finally free to walk into it. A focused mind does not beg for clarity. It builds it through vision. You don't wait to see where life takes you. You decide where you're going. Without vision, you become a drifter. You move through life responding to noise instead of purpose. You follow whoever shouts the loudest. But true strength, true focus comes when you choose a direction and commit to it with everything you have. Vision is not about what you see with your eyes. It's what you see within. And once that picture is clear, everything else begins to align. Your energy follows it. Your habits bend toward it. Your time gets reorganized by it. The clearer the vision, the fewer the distractions. When you know where you're going, detours lose their appeal. Habakkuk 2:2 gives a timeless instruction. Write the vision, make it plain, so he may run who reads it. Vision activates movement. You don't need more motivation. You need direction. And once direction is clear, movement becomes natural. But clarity isn't a gift. It's a decision. You build it by asking the right questions. What do I want to create? Who do I want to become? What does success look like for me? The process begins by naming your vision. Define it. Don't just say, I want more. More of what? Don't just say, I want success. What does that mean to you? Be specific. Paint it in color. Put it in writing. Then read it every day until it becomes your compass. Because a clear vision is a steady rudder in every storm. Mary McLeod Bethune. She started with $1.50 and a dream that others laughed at. A school for young black girls at a time when society said they didn't need one. But she saw what wasn't visible. She believed in what wasn't yet real. And because she held on to that vision, she didn't just open a school. She laid the foundation for what would become a university. Her clarity gave birth to progress. She wasn't led by trends. She was led by vision. That same power lives in you. but it won't activate until you define it. The mind cannot chase a fog. It needs form. Vision gives your mind something to work with, and once it locks in, your habits begin to obey. You wake up with purpose. You move with urgency. You make decisions with confidence because they're filtered through a destination. Without vision, you'll settle for what's convenient. With vision, you fight for what's meaningful. Vision doesn't make the journey easier, but it makes it worth it. It's what keeps you walking when the path gets steep. It's what keeps you focused when the world offers shortcuts. So write the vision, make it plain, not just in your journal, but in your life, in your schedule, in your conversations, in your daily discipline. Let it guide your day and govern your decisions. Speak it, live it, build it, because clarity is not something you wait for, it's something you create. And when you do, your mind stops spinning and starts running towards something real, towards something great. The more you focus on yourself, the more you detach from outcomes you cannot control. Life is full of variables, timelines that shift, results that delay, people who disappoint. And when your peace depends on outcomes, you become a prisoner to the unpredictable. But when your peace is rooted in preparation, you find strength even in the storm. You can't control the weather, but you can build a ship that sails through it. This shift is critical. Most people exhaust their energy trying to predict or manipulate the future. They ask, when will it happen? How will it happen? And the more they fixate, the more they lose momentum. But peace is not found in answers. It's found in action. You build peace like you build muscle, one focused repetition at a time. Matthew 6:34 offers a profound reminder. Do not worry about tomorrow. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Worry does not prevent the storm. It simply weakens your ability to face it. Your job is not to control tomorrow. Your job is to master today. That's where your power lives, in your habits, in your mindset, in your preparation. So what does that look like? It means waking up with purpose, even when results are uncertain. It means building skill, even if recognition is delayed. It means controlling what you can, your effort, your discipline, your learning, while releasing what you can't. The more you pour into what's yours to steward, the less attached you become to what's out of reach. Helen Keller is a testament to this truth. Born deaf and blind, she had every reason to quit, every justification to live in limitation, but she didn't waste time predicting what her life could or couldn't become. She focused on what she had. She trained, she read, she wrote, she practiced relentlessly. And through that focus, she didn't just achieve success, she shattered the world's definition of what was possible. She didn't wait for perfect clarity. She created progress with imperfect tools. Her life reminds us, you don't need perfect conditions to build a legacy. You need focus. You need faith. You need preparation. The outcomes, let them take care of themselves. You must do the same. Let go of the need to know exactly when your breakthrough will come. Stop obsessing over results. Start preparing with excellence. Your readiness is your responsibility. And when you show up fully present, fully prepared, results will come. Not because you chased them, but because you became someone they couldn't ignore. So train your mind to stay grounded. When the future feels uncertain, go deeper into the present. Anchor yourself in today's task. Prepare like it already belongs to you. Let your actions speak louder than your anxiety. Let your work ethic silence the questions. Detach from the outcome. Attach to the process. And watch how peace starts replacing panic. Watch how strength replaces stress. The storm will come. But if your ship is ready, you won't just survive, you'll sail. You don't need to predict the waves. You just need to master the helm. Focus, prepare, and let results chase you. Discipline multiplies when you surround yourself with order. It doesn't start in your calendar. It starts in your space. Because what surrounds you begins to shape you. If your environment is loud, cluttered, disorganized, don't be surprised if your thoughts are too. Chaos outside invites chaos inside. But when you take control of your surroundings, you take control of your focus. There's a silent connection between the order of your environment and the sharpness of your mind. When your desk is clear, your decisions become clearer. When your schedule is structured, your energy flows with direction. 1 Corinthians 14:40 gives a timeless instruction. Let all things be done decently and in order. It's not just a verse for church. It's a blueprint for a life of excellence. Disorder distracts. Disorder drains. But when everything around you is arranged with purpose, your mind stops wasting energy on confusion and starts using it for creation. You move faster. You think better. You respond with intention. How do you create this kind of order? You start small. Clean your space. Every item in its place. Declutter the unnecessary. Keep only what fuels your mission. Then organize your priorities. Not everything is urgent. Not everything deserves a yes. Rank your responsibilities by alignment with your purpose. Finally, schedule your excellence. Greatness doesn't happen spontaneous. It happens when excellence becomes an appointment you keep, not a mood you chase. Block time for focused work. Protect your mornings, respect your rest. Order isn't restriction, it's liberation. It frees your mind from decision fatigue. It releases your focus from chaos. Wilma Rudolph lived this truth. Born prematurely and diagnosed with polio, she had every reason to believe the future would be small and limited. But she didn't let her external conditions dictate her internal discipline. She trained with structure, recovered with routine, practiced with precision. Her environment wasn't perfect, but her preparation was. And because of it, she became the fastest woman in the world. Wilma didn't win with talent alone. She won with order. Her daily rhythm was built around improvement. Every move she made aligned with her goal. And when race day came, she wasn't hoping, she was ready. That's what order gives you, readiness. You don't fear the opportunity. You face it with calm confidence. The same is true for you. You may not control every circumstance, but you do control the atmosphere you build around you. You can choose what stays and what goes. You can decide whether your environment lifts your focus or limits it. So, build a space where discipline can breathe, where goals are visible, where energy isn't spent finding things or fixing distractions, but focused on executing your mission. Create surroundings that remind you who you are and where you're going. Because when your world reflects intention, your mind becomes a weapon of purpose. You think with clarity. You move with speed. You act with precision. And you rise because discipline isn't just in your actions. It's in your atmosphere. Clean it. Organize it. Structure it. Then watch how everything around you starts reflecting the power already inside you. Focus on yourself by creating rituals that rewire your identity. The truth is simple and inescapable. You are not your intentions. You are your repetition. Most people try to change their lives by changing their goals. But goals don't shape you. Habits do. Every action you repeat becomes a thread in the fabric of who you are. And over time, those threads form an identity. This is why rituals matter. They aren't just routines. They are statements. Every time you wake up early, every time you crack open a book, every time you pause to reflect, you're declaring, this is who I am becoming. You're training your brain, shaping your character, and setting your standards. What you do daily is what you believe inwardly. And what you believe inwardly becomes the life you live outwardly. Galatians 6:7 reminds us, a man reaps what he sows. It doesn't say wants or wishes. It says sows. That means what you plant through repeated action is what you harvest later. Sow effort, reap strength. Sow discipline, reap mastery. Sow laziness, reap regret. The future is not something you stumble into. It's something you sow into every single day. You don't need more motivation. You need stronger rituals, habits that anchor you in progress, practices that pull you forward when emotions try to pull you back. And these rituals don't have to be dramatic. Small steps done consistently become the staircase to your highest self. Juliette Gordon Low understood this. She didn't wake up extraordinary. She became it. She took a small gathering of girls and transformed it into the Girl Scouts, an organization that has impacted millions. How? Through structure, through rituals of learning, leadership, and service. She sowed vision into the lives of young women through repeated, meaningful action. She didn't just talk about growth. She organized it. You must do the same. Build your day around who you want to become. Wake up early, not to prove a point, but to win the morning. Read deeply, not to pass time, but to sharpen thought. Reflect honestly, not to dwell on failure, but to gather wisdom. These rituals become your rope, and that rope pulls your dreams from the clouds of intention into the soil of reality. When you skip your rituals, you lose traction. You spin in cycles of wishful thinking and self-doubt. But when you stay committed to them, even when it's hard, you build a rhythm of transformation. You no longer ask, how do I change? You become change one action at a time. So write down your rituals, protect them, tie your identity to them, let them be your compass on the days you feel lost. Because when your life is anchored to intentional habits, even your worst day moves you forward. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. Identity is not found. It's forged through fire, through focus, through ritual. Start planting, start pulling, and soon you'll find yourself becoming the person your dreams have been waiting on. The more you focus inward, the less approval you need outward. This is not arrogance, it's alignment. Because once you know who you are, you stop negotiating your worth in rooms that can't recognize it. Most people dim their light to make others comfortable. They shrink their truth. They mute their voice. But you weren't made to fit the room. You were made to transform it. Seeking validation is one of the greatest traps of potential. It keeps you looking outward when your power lives inward. It makes you a mirror reflecting whatever others project instead of a light source that shines regardless of who's watching. But when you begin to validate yourself, the sting of criticism softens. The pull of applause weakens. You no longer need a crowd to feel confident. You walk in your own certainty. Galatians 1:10 draws a hard line. If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a servant of Christ. That verse isn't just spiritual, it's strategic. You cannot lead your life while constantly adjusting to please others. The path of purpose will always require disappointing some people, but better to disappoint others than to betray yourself. You must build your identity inward, not on compliments, not on someone else's idea of success. Your identity must be rooted in values, forged in solitude, and reaffirmed through consistent action. Because when it comes from within, no outside force can take it away. Frida Kahlo, she lived in a time and body that made expression difficult. Yet she didn't dilute herself. She didn't ask permission to paint her pain or filter her feelings. Her art was her truth, and her truth was non-negotiable. Critics came. Some mocked her, some misunderstood her, but none of that changed the intensity of her fire. She didn't wait to be accepted. She created something the world couldn't ignore. You must do the same. You don't need to become louder, you need to become clearer. Clear on who you are. Clear on what you believe, clear on the life you're building. The more certain you are inside, the less you depend on applause outside. When you validate yourself, everything shifts. Your walk carries authority. Your voice doesn't crack under judgment. Your boundaries become firmer. And you stop apologizing for existing in full color. This doesn't mean you ignore wisdom or feedback. It means you filter it through identity, not insecurity. So how do you start? Begin by reminding yourself daily of what makes you valuable, not because of your achievements, but because of your essence. Speak truth over yourself before the world speaks lies. Affirm your worth. Stand by your convictions. Walk into rooms like someone who doesn't need to be chosen because you already chose yourself. Don't shrink. Don't bend. Don't trade your depth for someone's shallow approval. You weren't made to echo the world. You were made to shape it. And when your validation comes from within, the world doesn't give you confidence. It confirms it. Your energy speaks before you do. So carry it like truth, walk it like power, and know this. The more you focus inward, the more the world starts to reflect who you really are. Focusing on yourself is not a phase. It is a lifestyle. It's not something you do when motivation is high. It's not a season you pass through. It is a commitment to excellence, repeated daily, regardless of circumstances. The moment you stop, drift begins. And drift is subtle. It disguises itself as rest, as ease, as normalcy. But beneath the surface, you're slowly surrendering direction. Your mind, like any muscle, must be trained. Left unattended, it reverts to weakness. It falls prey to distraction. It forgets its mission. That's why focus isn't something you find once. It's something you forge every single day. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's protection. It guards your purpose from erosion. Hebrews 12:11 gives us this eternal truth. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but later it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace. The harvest doesn't come immediately. It doesn't arrive with applause, but it comes to those who persist, to those who build even when it feels like nothing's changing, to those who sharpen their mind while others sleep. You're not just chasing success, you're shaping a legacy. And legacy isn't crafted in one grand moment. It's built in the quiet, in the routines, in the daily disciplines that compound over time. The strongest structures don't rise overnight. They are anchored deep, reinforced by habit, and elevated by consistency. Wilbur and Orville Wright are prime examples. They weren't born with wings. They earned them through years of trial, repeated crashes, endless setbacks. They didn't stumble into flight. They disciplined themselves into it. Each failure taught them. Each attempt refined them. While the world doubted, they built. While critics mocked, they studied. And because they chose focus as a lifestyle, they achieved the impossible. You must do the same. Discipline cannot be a mood. It must be a method, a code, a system you live by whether you feel like it or not. Build daily, not just when it's convenient. Think sharply, even when your mind wants to wander. Live intentionally, even when routine tries to lull you into apathy. Set your alarm with purpose. Start your day with clarity. Attack your tasks like they matter because they do. Every choice is a seed. Every action is a brick. And the stronger your focus, the greater the structure you build. Your future doesn't need more intensity. It needs more consistency. The occasional sprint doesn't beat the steady marathoner. Success doesn't ask who ran hardest. It asks who lasted longest. And the ones who last are those who made discipline their companion, not their occasional guest. So keep your eyes on the mission when distraction calls. Remember your vision. When fatigue whispers, remember your why. When temptation offers shortcuts, remember your standard. And never let the noise shake your discipline. The world will try to lure you into passivity, but you weren't made to drift. You were made to drive. Every day, every habit, every mindset adjustment, it all adds up. Focus isn't a tool, it's a lifestyle. Choose it, live it, repeat it, until the future you're building becomes the life you're living.